This is Kugan Cassius for IFL TV. I'm on the bed. I'm on the bed of Curtis Woodhouse. Can I just say one thing?
Go.
This is how comfortable we are with our sexuality. That you could just lay there in your... What's this, a double?
Big double.
Big double. I can just lay here as well. No homo, just two.
How do you know? I invited you up to this room. I said, bring your camera. You ain't got a clue what's going through my mind.
Oh dear. No, this is alright. This is alright. I'm completely comfortable with this.
I'm
a bit
comfortable.
I'm a bit worried why you're holding the pillar there.
Shit might get real.
Shit might get real. Press conference today.
Yeah.
Willie Limond seems very confident. He's been around the block. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
He's fought, and as Eddie Hearn said, the level of opposition he's had in his career is unquestionable. He may have not won all them fights, but he's mixed it up at a decent level. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, most definitely. He's boxed some top operators. You know, the people that beat him: Eric Morales, top fighter; Anthony Quella, top fighter; Alex Arthur was a top fighter; and Amir Khan, top fighter. So yeah, he's mixed in real good company. But the key thing to all that is they've all beaten him. You know, he's not beaten any of them. So they've all beaten him. But he's been in there. He's been there, seen it, done it. You know, boxed for the British title twice. Came up short on Friday night. He'll come up short again.
You said some interesting comments in the press conference that where you are in your career and where Willie Limond is in his career, it's kind of like a defining fight, which could go either way. As in, it could be a defining fight positively, or it could be a career-ending fight. Is that fair to say that?
I think we're both in the same boat. We're both, you know, I think Willie's 35, I'm 34. Another loss for either of us is possibly the end. Probably is the end, you know. So when two fighters are desperate to win, I don't want to retire. I don't want to walk away. Willie Limond has stated he don't want to walk away. When you get two fighters that are desperate to win because they don't want to stop doing what they're doing, normally you get a great fight because we'll both be willing to maybe do that little bit extra because we ain't really willing to jack it in yet, you know. So on Friday night, I'm willing to go and do whatever needs to do to win. And if Willie Limond is willing to do that himself, expect a great fight. Because when two people neither of them are willing to back down, you normally see a great spectacle. And I'm not willing to come here to lose. I'm here to win. I'm willing to go through whatever I need to do to win.
Going back to your win over Darren Hamilton, you was an underdog going that fight. You know you was.
6-1 underdog.
6-1 underdog.
6-1, yeah.
I don't usually call fights before on camera and things like that, but after the fight, I did tell you that I thought that Darren Hamilton would beat you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did, but I think that's testament to what you went and proved that night.
Yeah.
It was such an emotional night for whoever was there, and I remember being in the dressing room afterwards, and it was one of the best things, I'll be honest with you, I've seen covering boxing in the last few years.
Yeah.
Being in the dressing room straight after.
Yeah.
That moment.
The emotion was still raw.
It was so raw.
Real.
So raw, so real.
Yeah.
And you could it was one of the best things I've seen, I'll be honest with you. And but obviously you made that decision kind of before the fight that you would retire. You know, you had a little time to think about it. You've come back, you've taken this fight against Willie Limond, but 2 days now before the fight, are you more convinced than ever that you did do the right thing by returning to the ring? Yeah,
most definitely. Because someone said to me, you're a long time retired. I'll be retired for the next 30, 40 years, you know. So I want to tick every box. And when fights like this come up and both belts are on the line, everyone's saying this is going to be a great fight. It's live on Sky Sports. I'm on away territory. There's going to be 6,000 screaming Scots there, all wanting me to lose. That's the type of stuff that excites me, you know, that's the type of thing I'll be able to speak to my kids about, and people are going to remember because this is going to be a great fight. I can't walk away from things like that, you know. I've got a big ego. That's what got me into boxing in the first place. I used to watch it and think, I can do that. There's nothing they're doing that I can't do, you know, because I've got a big ego. So big ego takes you to places like this, takes you into fights that no one thinks you're going to win, you know. That's why I fully believed I was going to beat down Hamilton. because I've got a big ego. Big egos bring me to Scotland. I fully believe not only will I beat Willie Limond, but I'll look great doing it. I think I'll do a number on him. But that's just me. I believe that about anyone. If I was fighting Floyd Mayweather, I'd believe I was going to win. I'm maybe not wired up right, but I genuinely believe that.
But knowing you have this big ego, why were you so convinced that you would retire after win, lose or draw?
Because my whole career when I turned pro was all about winning the British title. And what I learned from the past as a footballer is all I ever wanted to be as a young kid was a professional footballer. That's all I wanted to be. I used to wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, go and play football all day in the back garden, on the field. I was John Barnes, and I was just used to drill past everyone. I was Barnes. And when I scored, I used to do John Barnes celebrations. I just wanted to be John Barnes. All I wanted to be was a professional footballer. Once I made it as a professional footballer, I lost interest within weeks, and I was like, well, I was searching around for something else to do, and I thought that's my personality as well. Once I do something, I lose interest really quick, and I thought that I'd be exactly the same with boxing. So that's why before the fight, I just thought, I know what's going to happen. I know what I'm like. As soon as I win, that'll be it. I won't want to do it anymore. But people say boxing's better than any drug going, and this has got me addicted. I couldn't walk away. I knew a couple of days after the fight, the Hamilton fight, that there's no way I was going to retire. No way. I knew it was going to be impossible, because what was going through my head wasn't mission accomplished. It was, I was looking at the rankings thinking, I won't mind a pop at him. Oh, yeah, I fancy that one. But I thought, I'll give myself a couple of weeks because this might die down a little bit. But it never, it just intensified. And so I rang Dave Caldwell up and said, listen, Dave, I'm going to go again. Go and get me a good fight. He rang me back a couple of days later and says, do you fancy Willie Limond? And I thought they were talking about over in Hull. I think Eddie's doing another show in Hull in the new season. I was like, yeah, that'll be a brilliant fight, British and Commonwealth. And he says, but you'll have to go to Scotland for it. And I'm like, that's even better, to go there to fight him in his own backyard, even better. So I knew pretty much straight away, which I'm happy about, because it means that I'm maturing as a human being, as a person. As a young kid, I was kind of do it, see you later, I'm not bothered. But now I've found something that I'm genuinely in love with, and that's boxing, and I want to see it out.
Do you know, from a sports fan perspective, so someone that's into a little bit of football, into a little bit of boxing, do you think they consider you now for your football or your boxing?
Difficult question, and I suppose it all depends on who you talk to. Some people will never see me play football, and some footballers have never seen me box. So it's difficult. How do you see me?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. So Leon McKenzie is a few fights into his professional boxing career.
Yeah.
But where it's only a few fights, a lot of people still don't know that Leon McKenzie is a professional boxer.
Yeah.
I was out of him recently, and it was
I played with Leon McKenzie at Peterborough United. We were teammates.
Yeah. But I'm a big football fan, and I have been all my life. And I remember you at Sheffield United.
We played your boys. Remember that cup game, Arsenal, when we walked off the pitch? Because you scored that cheating goal.
Oh, Carnu scored.
Carnu, yeah. I played that game.
When I think it was, they took a throw-in.
Overmars went down the wing.
Overmars down the wing. Carnu set it in.
Our player went off injured.
Yeah.
And you meant to throw the ball back to us.
Yeah.
And I think Ray Parlour went to throw it back to us, and Overmars was running.
Overmars ran in. Carnu, I think that might have been one of Carnu's first season.
Probably his only goal, I think, of the season. Against us, shouldn't have counted. We were ready to walk off
Hold
the
on,
pitch.
but what happened?
You gave us a replay.
Right, and that's unheard of.
And we got dealt with in the replay.
I remember Burkham scored a pucker goal in that game. Great goal in that game, I remember. But yeah, I mean, like I said, football really has been my first sport, and it still is to this day, really. You know, boxing's a close second. But because I've sort of seen you for the last 4 years, I've kind of got it into my head now. It's Curtis Woodhouse, the boxer, not Curtis Woodhouse, the footballer anymore, because of where you've got to and the fact that you've stuck at it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it as Curtis Woodhouse, the boxer. But do you think the general public see it as that?
I'm not sure. And you know, at first, when I first turned pro as a boxer, I was dismissive of my football career. I wanted people to acknowledge me as a boxer. I thought, I've done that. You know, give me my credit as a boxer. When I was new in the game, a couple of years in, but I learned after a bit that anything in this game you got to go out and earn it. You know, so I had to stick at it, and now I think I'm genuinely respected as a fighter, you know, and that feels great. But also, now I've got older and I've not played professional football for, I think it's 8 years now. I look back at my professional career, football career, and I look back at it with more pride, because it's like, now I've got a son who's 10 years old, he's football mad, he's signed for Rotherham under 10s, and when he goes and he plays all around, I realise now from the outside looking in how hard it is to become a professional footballer. You know, anyone can be a professional boxer. You go and pass your medical, you're in. You know, so it's not difficult to become a professional boxer. To become a professional footballer is so difficult. I take my little boy to games on Saturdays, and there must be 150 people playing on a field for all different age group teams, and that's happening all over the world, and only 1% of them people make it as professional footballers. So I always say to my little boy, you've got to do what the next person's not doing. Instead of going on your Xbox, you go and play half an hour, work on your weaker foot or whatever, because that separation might make you be a footballer and the next kid not. So now I see it from a parenting perspective. I look and I think, you know what, I'm proud of what I achieved as a footballer. 400 league games, played in the League 2, League 1, the Championship, the Premiership, played for England in the 16s, 18s, 21s. I'm proud of it, because everybody out there is trying to do it, and only a select few make it. And I was one of them that made it. So I'm proud of what I achieved as a footballer. But what I achieved as a footballer, I underachieved. So I look back at that and think, really, I wasted a career. I should have achieved a lot more than what I did. Now, on the boxing side, I came into boxing with zero natural ability, none. All I could do is have a fight in a pub or a car park, which anyone can do. I had no skill whatsoever. My skill was I've always been able to hit pretty hard, but when you're fighting with drunk people, it doesn't really take much to put them away. You know, one clean shot and it's normally game over. So I came into the boxing game rubbish, no natural talent whatsoever. So what I lacked as a professional footballer, I've made up for as a boxer, because I looked at my footballing career and thought, I made a mistake there, because kids that were a lot worse than me ended up having miles better careers than me, for the simple reason is they worked harder. Simple as that. So I took what I failed at in football and I brought it into my boxing game straight from day dot, and I worked harder than everybody else. No one works harder than me in the gym. When they've all gone, I'll work on things even now and I'll get it right, and that's what's got me to being British champion, English champion, British champion within 30 fights. It's not natural talent. Even in my gym now, we've got 12 pro fighters. I'm not in the top 3 or 4 of the best there in our gym. No way. And I'm British champion. But I work harder than them all. I've outworked them. So that's why I'm where I am. So my football career, what I failed at, has made me excel in my boxing career. So I've been lucky enough to be able to look at one career and think, you messed up there. Now put what you did wrong in that career into this career. And I've been lucky. I've done it. And that's what's made me get to where I am. Just hard work. You know, people, hard work, dedication and all that bollocks. Well, my career is about that. It's not about natural talent. I'll be honest with you now. Is this going to go out after the fight or before?
Before.
Oh. I'm not very good. But I can grind you down and take you places you don't want to be, because I'm fitter, stronger and I want it more. Simple as that. That's why I'm here. Not through skills. I spoke to my friend the other day, and my mate said to me, it's embarrassing that you've managed to bludgeon your way to being #1 in the division. Nothing to do with talent, but I've just been bloody minded and pig-headed, and I've got here in the end. Like I said, and that's because of my football career, because I took from what I messed about and pissed about and look back at it and think, for someone to waste a football career the way I did is an idiot. To waste 1 career. To waste 2 for the same reason, it'd be unforgivable. So that's why I've made the best of what I've got, and I became British champion against all the odds. 50-1 you could have got on me, apparently. Apparently kids were having bets left, right and centre. Yeah. Allegedly.
One of my mates said £5 on it.
Wow. Lucky man.
Yeah.
I bet he's not in Scotland Friday fighting.
Where you are in your career now, in your boxing career obviously, would it be fair to say that you need to take, or do take, one fight at a time? You're fighting for the Commonwealth title, like I said, you've won the British title, you're fighting for the Commonwealth title, but it is a fight-by-fight process for you.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, 34 years old, I've had 30, this is my 30th fight. There isn't no 5-year plan, you know, there isn't no 18-month plan. It's one fight at a time, you know. I'll address my career as each fight goes on. And, you know, I'm not looking at another 10 fights. You know, I probably want another 3 or 4 just to try and get to where I want to get to a level, and I know that that's my level. You know, if I can't, that's me, and then call it a day and walk away proud of what I've achieved. You know, I don't want to go on forever. You know, be a former British champion for these up and coming kids beating me up, these 18-year-olds that have just turned pro, and that's not what I'm about. I'm too proud for things like that. I want to get as far as I possibly can, and I'll know myself. I'm, like I say, I'm arrogant, but I'm honest as well. I'll know, I think I ain't good enough for that, but I'll only find out by getting in there, because I believe I can beat anyone. But sometimes when the bell rings, reality bites, you know, and I'll know when it's time for me to go.
We'll talk about another fighter that you've been linked with in
everyone in it.
Yeah, everyone at 140.
Yeah.
Linked with. There was an offer. This was made public on Twitter by Frank Warren, offering you £50,000 to fight Bradley Saunders.
Yeah.
For what reason, or did you not take that fight back then? We know you're fighting Willie Limond in 2 days, but back then, why was that not an option for you?
Well, I had 3 offers on the table at that time. One was Bradley Saunders, which got made public on Twitter. One was Willie Limond, and one was Tommy Coyle. That my team spoke to Eddie Hearn about Tommy Coyle fight, which was that close to being signed. We were probably a day for signing for that fight. That came really close to happening. And the Bradley Saunders fight, basically, the reason I fought Willie Limond is because I'm the British champion, Willie Limond's the Commonwealth champion. It was a natural fight to try and unify the 2 titles. The only thing Bradley Saunders was bringing to the table was a booming right hand and a booming left hook. He wasn't a title holder. He'd had 8 fights. There wasn't really anything enticing to me to fight Bradley Saunders apart from the 50 grand. I'm nearly getting that to fight Willie Limond, and there's a Commonwealth title on the line as well. So business sense and also me chasing another title came into me accepting the Willie Limond fight. That was the one initially when it got announced. That was the first one I said to Dave Caldwell, was that's the one I want. Because listen, if Willie Limond didn't have the Commonwealth title, I wouldn't be up here in Scotland. You know, I'd have probably gone the Bradley Saunders route or the Tommy Coyle route. But because he is a Commonwealth champion and I have a chance to unify my division, that was a fight that made sense. And I'm sure if Bradley Saunders was the British champion, the fight he'd want would be Willie Limond, because of the fact he's the Commonwealth champion as well. Works both ways.
Frank Warren's been very vocal in his opinion on his fighter, and Bradley Saunders saying he's the best fighter at 140 in this country, which is a fair comment to come from his promotional team. Is this a fight that you see happening in the next year, possibly?
Well, I'm not. From my point of view, you know, as a British champion, there's been a final eliminator put out between Bradley Saunders and Tyrone Nurse. Yeah. Whoever wins that fight is a mandatory to fight me. I then fight him next. Bradley Saunders has pulled out of that fight. So if he's undisputably the best in the division and no one can touch him, why not fight Tyrone Nurse? He said, why don't you earn your shot? You know, and I don't think it's anything to do with Bradley Saunders, because I genuinely believe that he will fight anyone. He's that type of kid. You know, he's a fighter I've got a lot of respect for. As a fighter and as a lad, I like him, and he's very, very talented. But maybe his team aren't as confident behind him as what they're making on. Otherwise, why not fight Tyrone Nurse? It's a final eliminator for the British title. They want the British title. Why not take the final eliminator against Tyrone Nurse? The winner fights me. There's no skullduggery. There's no hidden agenda. The winner of that fight fights me. Just like, you know, when George Groves, you know, got made mandatory to fight Carl Froch, they fight. It is what it is. He's pulled out. He's pulled out twice against Tyrone Nurse. Once for the English title, when he got made, he pulled out. And now for the final eliminator against Tyrone Nurse, he's pulled out again. Now I don't know whether it's Bradley Saunders that's pulled out or Frank Warren that's pulled him out of the fight. It's alright saying he's the best. Go and prove it.
It was suggested that you were trying to slip him.
Yeah.
But obviously, in your opinion, was never the case.
It was never the case. I got offered the fight and turned it down. But there's a difference between turning the fight down and slipping the fight. After Friday, if I retain both titles and everything goes great, I will fight the winner of Tyrone Nurse against Bradley Saunders. If they take that fight, I fight the winner. I'm not ducking anybody. Right here, willing and waiting. But it seems to me like if anyone's ducking anyone, they're ducking Tyrone Nurse. They've pulled out twice. That's not my opinion, that's fact. So, you know, I don't really know what else to say. What do you want me to say?
No. Well,
the proof's in the pudding. Can I just say quickly?
Yeah.
Tyrone Nurse is a good fighter.
Very good fighter.
Very good fighter. Tough fight for anybody. But if you're universally the best and no one can touch you at 140 domestically, then you should be walking straight through Tyrone Nurse.
Yeah.
They obviously maybe don't have as much confidence in their fighter as what they're saying they have.
Since your win over Darren Hamilton, have you ever considered giving Darren Hamilton a rematch?
It's not something I've had to mull over, consider, or even think about, for the simple fact I've never been offered the fight. I've never been offered the fight once. It's never been, do you fancy the rematch for X amount? It's not even a discussion that's ever been brought up. They were so confident in victory. There was a voluntary defence against myself. They had no rematch clause in it whatsoever. And a rematch had never been offered to me. So his name's never been in the hat. And Darren's a good fighter as well. Gave me a tough fight. He was awkward. Darren's one of them that's very, very difficult to beat. You know, you look at the people he's beaten. On paper, you'd probably think, he's going to beat Darren Hamilton. But when you get in there with him, he's really crafty. He's difficult. He's got one of them styles that's tough to beat. So, you know me, because I'm always honest with you. Darren Hamilton is not at the top of my list for people to go chasing. I've beaten him once. It's like Bernard Hopkins. You know, if he didn't have a title, people wouldn't be knocking on his door saying, should we fight Bernard Hopkins? Just because he's awkward and he's tough to beat. Same with Darren Hamilton. The only reason people wanted to fight him in the first place is because he was British champion. Now he's lost that title. He's kind of top of the Who Needs Him club. And I run that club.
Alright. Well, listen, Curtis, I understand I've interrupted your...
masturbation session.
I was going to say pre-weigh-in sleep, but...
I've got a pound to lose, and, you know, sometimes you've got to get them fluids out your body ready.
Bastard. Can't be talking them things when another man's laying up in your bed. Listen, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure, mate.
And weigh-in tomorrow, and then Friday night it's on. So
showtime,
everyone's looking forward to it. The whole bill in general as well. But
yeah, that's a great show, and like I said, I can't wait to taste the atmosphere. Looking forward to it, mate.
Absolutely. Alright, well, Curtis Woodhouse, the boxer. Thanks for talking to Eiffel TV, and we'll see you at the weigh-in tomorrow.
Yeah, cheers, pal.
Thank you very much.
Nice one, mate.